I'm standing on the edge of the Gaza Strip, and let me tell you, the tension here is so thick you could cut it with a knife.
Since October 7th, 2023, over 90 Israeli citizens have been held hostage by Hamas. This isn't just some local dispute, it's a full-blown international crisis that's got everyone from Tel Aviv to Washington on high alert. Today, we're going to dive deep into this mess, break down how we got here, and show you what's being done to get these people home. October 7th, 2023. A day that started like any other but ended in chaos and terror. Hamas launches a surprise attack on Israel, catching everyone off guard. In the mayhem, they snatch over 90 Israeli citizens. We're not just talking soldiers here, we're talking civilians, kids, grandparents. The world watches in horror as videos start circulating showing these hostages in captivity. It's like something out of a nightmare, but it's all too real. Fast forward to now, and the situation's still a powder keg. You've got families living in a constant state of fear, not knowing if their loved ones are alive or dead. The Israeli government? They're under massive pressure. Every day that passes without a resolution is another day of hell for these families. And Hamas? They're playing hardball, using these hostages as bargaining chips in a high-stakes game of political chess. January 2025 rolls around, and we start seeing some movement. Qatar, Egypt, and the US step in as mediators, and they manage to cobble together a draft agreement. The deal on the table? A phased release of hostages. It's not perfect, but it's a start. Then boom, another breakthrough. An agreement to get medicine to the hostages through the Red Cross. In exchange, more aid flows into Gaza. It's a delicate balance of give and take. But here's the thing, these agreements are like houses of cards. One wrong move and the whole thing could come crashing down. You've got hardliners on both sides who think any compromise is too much. While the diplomats are doing their thing, the Israeli Defense Forces aren't sitting on their hands. They're launching some seriously gutsy rescue operations. August 2024, they pull off a mission in southern Gaza, snatching Farhan al-Qadi right from under Hamas's nose. It's the kind of operation that could have gone sideways real quick, but they pulled it off. These ops are risky as hell, but for the IDF, it's a risk they're willing to take. Each successful mission? It's a morale boost for the whole country.
November 2023 is when things really start to move. There's this agreement, 50 hostages for 150 Palestinian prisoners and a ceasefire. It's not the end of the crisis, but it's a major step. Over 6 releases, 108 hostages are freed. The scenes at the border are intense. Tears, hugs, pure emotion. You've got stories that'll break your heart and put it back together. Doran Katz Asher and her daughters reuniting with their father after 49 days in captivity. 4-year-old Abigail Iden, orphaned in the attack, finally coming home. Emily Hand, who her father thought was dead, turns out to be alive and is released. These moments of joy are powerful, but they're bittersweet. For every family reunited, there are others still waiting, still hoping for their loved ones to come home. This crisis isn't just an Israeli problem. It's got tentacles reaching all over the globe. We've got 22 confirmed dead American hostages, and President Biden's made it crystal clear. Getting the remaining Americans out is top of the list. But it's not just about the US. We're looking at 138 hostages with foreign passports. Thai, Argentinian, German, French. It's like a United Nations of hostages. This international angle, it's a double-edged sword. On one hand, it complicates the hell out of negotiations. You've got different countries, different priorities, different red lines. It's a diplomatic minefield, but it's also ramping up the pressure on Hamas like never before. Let's be real, this isn't Hamas's first rodeo when it comes to taking hostages. They've been pulling this shit for years. We're talking a long, bloody history of targeting Israeli civilians. Remember Gilad Shalit, held for 5 years before being exchanged for over 1,000 Palestinian prisoners. Or the kidnapping and murder of teenagers Eyal Yifrak, Naftali Frenkel and Gilad Shar in 2014. These are just a few chapters in Hamas' Book of Terror. And it's not just about the living. Hamas is holding the bodies of Israeli soldiers, Hadar Goldin and Oron Shaul. They've got 2 Israeli citizens, Avera Mengistu and Hisham al-Sayed, who are believed to be alive but haven't been heard from in years. So where do we go from here? Israel's made it clear they're in this for the long haul. They're using everything in their arsenal. Military ops, diplomacy, intelligence. The US is in the mix too, providing diplomatic muscle, military aid and intel support. But make no mistake, this is a marathon, not a sprint. There's no quick fix, no easy solution. It's going to take time, patience, and probably more tough compromises on both sides. As I stand here watching the sun set over Gaza, the weight of this crisis is palpable.
For the families of the hostages, every sunset brings another night of uncertainty. This isn't just a news story. It's a human tragedy unfolding in real time.
And it's far from over. The negotiations, the rescues, the diplomatic dance, it all continues. This crisis has exposed the raw nerves of a conflict that's been simmering for decades. And until it's resolved, the world will be watching, waiting, and hoping for a resolution that brings these hostages home.
From the Gaza border, I'm Rob Schroeder, and this is the reality of the Israeli hostage crisis.